Flowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them. That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
I'm drinking the Jalen Hurts, Sean Mannion Kool-Aid. I don't care what anybody else says. Welcome to the Eagles Checkdown, the fastest under 10-minute Eagles podcast there is, covering news, notes, and opinions on your favorite football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, jointly produced by the Eagles Pinball Podcast Network and the STT Sports Network on YouTube. Guys, make sure you hit all the buttons on your screen, like, share, subscribe, follow, whichever platform you're watching on, video or audio. Make sure you're following along, and make sure you tune into Trending in the AM live Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. for 90 minutes of sports talk, setting the trends for what sports talk should be in Philadelphia. Trending in the AMs on the STT Sports Network. I've got Friday's episode linked in the description here, so make sure you check it out, guys, or just search on YouTube Trending in the AM. Look, Wednesday was the only open, media availability to the first couple days of Eagles OTAs. I've got some more news and notes from that, but I really dove into the Jalen Hurts post-practice press conference, some of the comments, and I want to highlight a couple of those comments here real quick. Then we'll get into other notes I didn't cover on yesterday's episode and go over the rest of the schedule over the next couple of weeks for the Philadelphia Eagles. But, there was a lot of talk and a lot of criticism of Jalen Hurts over the last, couple weeks, months of the offseason about how uncoachable he was, right? But you could totally see a complete difference from him just in a 5-minute press conference and how wrong that might be. The way he talks, Jalen Hurts, of Sean Mannion, the difference in how he speaks about him just goes to show that there just was not a good connection between him and Kevin Patullo. Hell, if you go to Anthony DeBona's Twitter page, he's got side-by-side videos of the first comments he made about Kevin Patullo on May 20th last year, first press conference after the first practice, versus his comments yesterday, and it's just drastically different, right? And some of the words or phrases he used to describe Sean Mannion and their relationship so far. He says it's been a really good process, a very clear. He's giving good directions, and he sees the vision of what the offense needs to be. As opposed to when Kevin Patullo last year at one point said, we just run plays to run plays sometimes. Hurts always wanted to know the why, just as much as the what, right? And Sean is giving that to him, is what he's saying. Very instructive, very intentional with what he wants him to do and the why. We were very one-on-one situated last year and focused last year, not trying to find a flow. Now they're getting more into that West Coast offense and finding a flow with his receivers, tight ends, running backs, versus just going to AJ, basically hinting at we force-fed AJ Brown the ball all the time instead of just going with what the game dictated. Did talk about the West Coast offense a lot. He did talk also a little bit about AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts yesterday. The big what if in the room I mentioned, took a sip of water at the exact right time. But he said something very, very mature about the A.J. Brown relationship and situation, which I wonder if A.J. Brown will reciprocate this to Jalen Hurts, when the eventual trade does happen, despite the rumors that the Patriots might not be in anymore. But I don't know, whatever. He's gone soon. Jalen Hurts had this to say. Despite everything, you cannot take anything away about what that duo accomplished. And despite their friendship not obviously being what it once was, it is such a mature thing to say, yeah, look, we accomplished a lot. Whatever happens, we've moved on in life. But you can't take that away. And I loved that quote from him. Some other things from practice on Wednesday that I want to highlight. There were reports on all the players that weren't present, and it was voluntary. Lane Johnson, Dontavian Wicks, John Campbell, Jalen Carter, etc. It was reported that the Tuesday practice, which was closed to the media, everybody but A.J. Brown was present. That's reports from sources to the media. That is not from the team itself, but that's what guys like Jeff McClain, Zach Berman, and those guys are getting information-wise from their sources. The offensive line depth chart, I mentioned how Markel Bell, not Fred Johnson, was, the right tackle one with Lane Johnson missing practice. And that's a huge sign of what they expect. They want to get him reps. Some other changes to the offensive line depth chart, so to speak, with Chris Cooper versus, Jeff Stoutland. Drew Kendall was the number 2 right guard with the reps, not later, draft pick Micah Morris. You got one draft pick bumped right up into a big role. Micah Morris, not so much. Holland Pierce, who was converted to a guard by Jeff Stoutland, was reverted back to a tackle and took all the reps on the third team at right tackle. That is a big change right there. Again, a lot more comments about, we didn't hear one mention of Eli Stowers, our second-round pick yesterday. Good or bad, I don't know. I want to highlight again more on Saquon Barkley and how much he highlighted, how much he enjoys the offense going more under center, and how he did not just talk to, but studied a lot of film of Todd Gurley's time in Sean McVay's offense with the Rams. And if you go back and look at it, Todd Gurley had some really monster, seasons there. A couple guys have been hyped up that they bulked up. Cooper DeJean's obviously, the cool kids call it swole now. I don't even know what that means, but bulked up, I'm guessing. But also Nolan Smith seems to have bulked up as well. Whether that be good or bad for the defensive end edge rusher there, it's got some question marks with his off the field stuff. We'll see. But Cooper DeJean obviously taking to that safety role as well, added on some more muscle. Talk about Uwar Bernard. I love Uwar Bernard. I love the potential, the raw athleticism there. But a couple reports I read that he's got a long way to go. It'll be fun and interesting to enjoy the journey that he's going to embark on this year and over the next couple of years with the Eagles. But he's very raw, and we've got to be patient there and not expect much. Random note, Jake Elliott was kicking on Wednesday with a black shoe on his right foot. I don't know what that means. Maybe somebody could explain it, but that's that. The rest of the schedule for OTAs before training camp in July. Friday, the 29th, there will be a practice, a voluntary practice closed to the media. Next week, they've got 3 practices. They haven't said which one, but one will be open to the media. They'll practice Monday and Tuesday and Thursday next week, the 1st, 2nd, and the 4th. There will be a mandatory mini camp June 9th and 10th. That's the rest of your schedule. Then after June 10th, it'll be off for a month till training camp begins in July. That's what I got. Y'all have a great weekend. We got lots of footballs back, baby. We got new stuff to talk about. Anyway, everybody have a great weekend. Go Birds! And bubbles up.